Welcome to Inside Southeastern Basketball with David Kiefer on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion Basketball. Now, live from Rainbow Daiquiris in Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Well, not quite Alan Waddell, ladies and gentlemen, but good evening and welcome to Inside Southeastern Basketball. I'm Chris Salim, filling in for Alan Waddell, who is actually away at tonight's national championship game with his dad, so hope he enjoys that. But Chris Salim alongside Southeastern men's head basketball coach David Kiefer, and we'll go through last week's games as the Lions took on Sam Houston State and Nichols, and preview this week's upcoming games at home against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then on the road at Abilene Christian. And Coach, I want to talk more so just as a team overview early on. I mean, we'll get into the games from last week and get into, of course, what we've got coming up this week. But, you know, the thing that I like about this team, and you and I have talked a lot about this, you know, road trips and your office and whatnot, I personally feel like we're ahead of the curve so far. I mean, the defense is there every single game. We're in every game, probably against teams on paper that we might be supposed to lose 10 or 20 points. And then we're giving ourselves a chance to win and grow in each and every single game. I know we've talked about this a lot, but the progress of this team you've got to at least be pleased with, even if the results haven't necessarily been exactly what you wanted.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The progress has been great. Practice has been great. And we always say the same thing. Sounds like a broken record when I say our enthusiasm and practice have been phenomenal. But they really have. Our guys are bringing it every single day. You see them getting better every day. Our defense is much further along than our offense is right now, and our offense has got to help our defense out a little bit without, you know, we're turning the ball over too much. And defensively, we got to finish plays and get rebounds. You know, it's not an excuse anymore that our guys are young and they're too light in the butt to go hit bodies and go finish plays. But right now we're where we want to be, although, you know, it doesn't look like that overall as our record shows, but we see the progress that we're making, and defensively, you know, we're really doing a good job.
Let's talk a little bit about a couple of the individuals too that their efforts on a nightly basis. I mean, I think you can really say that about this entire team. Regardless of the outcome, I mean, you're getting 105% every single night. Let's start with sophomore Ty Brewer, who sits fourth in the conference in rebounding, sixth in scoring. He's averaging 16.4 points a game, 8.1 rebounds. He's looking like that first-team all-league player that you and I talked about, and a lot of this coaching staff felt like he could be, and he's showing that a lot earlier than maybe we even anticipated.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, and we knew that this kind of style of play that we're playing is fitted and suited just for him. His athleticism and his high motor and aggressiveness are perfect. But Ty is also maturing and getting better. He's still in kind of a roller coaster run a little bit. You know, have a couple big games, then have a couple drop-offs. You know, he's got to do a better job of affecting the game when he's not scoring.
Sure.
You know, the games that he didn't score much, he didn't also rebound great or had the same fire and passion defensively. So we're trying to, and that's just a growing process. He's 19 years old. As he gets older, he'll understand winning plays and doing more than just scoring the ball. But he's been doing really well for us. He's got to understand shot selection and kind of let the game come to him a little bit more. I think sometimes he's when he hasn't scored for a while, he hunts a little bit. So if we can just control his shot selection, because we always talk about, you know, a bad shot is just like a live ball turnover. It's,
sure.
It's a first fast break chance for the other team. So working on shot selection and just and getting overall better at his game, and he's been embracing coaching every day, which is good.
Let's go right over to Vaughn Julian, too. I mean, you've talked a lot about this, and you've called him the, quote, quarterback of this team. And we really saw that against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who, of course, is our next opponent, ladies and gentlemen, in the 84-80 victory on the 4th of January, when Julian hit 10 straight free throws in the final 154 of the game. Obviously, he's going to be big in every game that we're able to win. Just talk about what he brings. I mean, even if it doesn't necessarily always show in the stat sheet, I mean, he's one of those guys that it takes a coach to really appreciate him on a nightly basis.
For sure. Vaughn's best weapon is his voice. Mm-hmm. You know, he's constantly talking. We talk about great teams are player-led, not coach-led. And Vaughn's clearly our leader, and defensively, great defensive teams are constantly talking. And he's the loudest person on the court, calling out action, constantly talking to us in the game. He's a coach on the floor. You know, obviously, he's starting to make shots more, and you can see his confidence go up a little bit because, you know, he's struggling a little bit about putting the ball in the basket. Now he's starting to do that, so it's good for him to see. But, you know, we talked about Ty doing more than just scoring. Vaughn, when Vaughn's not scoring, he affects the game in so many more ways that may not show up in the stat sheet. So, and leadership's the biggest thing with that.
And I'd be remiss while we're talking about individuals if I don't bring up freshman Byron Smith, who I'm going to go ahead and make the plea at least, maybe I'm a little biased here, but I mean freshman of the year, I'm just saying. Could definitely be in the cards for him. You're talking about a guy who plays every single possession defensively like he is guarding his family. And I mean, I think he is one of those guys that sets the tone for this team on the defensive end. I mean, what do you see from him on a nightly basis, and how good can he be?
Well, we're not hiding who your favorite player is, huh?
Huh?
Not hiding who your
Well, I
favorite
mean, I'm
is.
just saying, freshman of the year, yeah.
But no, he's got a chance. I haven't seen everybody in the conference play yet, and I don't know all the freshmen, but I know how important he is to us. And we talk about the front guys of our press, because we like to press, and the front guys are the most important pieces. He's almost the front line, the defensive line of the defense. He's our Aaron Donald. Everything starts up front with disruption in the backfield. And as long as we can get our linebackers in secondary to be engaged and constantly help him behind the ball, he does a great job of just even not turning over. He didn't turn over Jackson in the backcourt last game, or Johnson last game. But what he did is just made him work for every step up down the floor. When you finish playing Byron, you're going to be tired. And he's just, he's like a sponge. You've seen his basketball IQ get so much better and better every day because, like you said, he plays in the game just like practice. Every rep and everything that we do, we talk about having championship reps.
Sure.
Like it's the last play to win the championship game. Every rep should be that way. And he really takes that literal, and he does that every day, and that's why you see the success.
No question, man. Well, listen, we'll talk. Going to talk a lot more Lion fans with Southeastern men's head basketball coach David Kiefer. We're going to break down the Southland Conference standings. We'll go back to last week when the Lions faced Sam Houston and Nichols, who, by the way, are both at the top of the Southland Conference standings. We'll take a break and come back. This is Inside Southeastern Basketball with head coach David Kiefer.
What do you love most about being a student athlete at Southeastern?
So I chose teammates for life because on our golf team, nobody's from the same spot, but the friendships we've made, once we graduate, I know we'll always be friends, we'll always see each other, we'll always come back and visit.
The Southland Conference, 13 member institutions, over 4,200 student-athletes, achieving success in the classroom while excelling in 19 NCAA Division I sports and making a difference through serving others and giving back to the community. Determination, hard work, commitment, excellence, and collaboration. Together, we are Southeastern!
Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Basketball with David Kiefer, ladies and gentlemen. And, Coach, man, I see you got your hands on some pizza during the break. You brought me some as well. Maybe in the next break I might grab some, but
Well, you told me to go over there and grab it for you, so I got you a couple slices.
Oh, okay, so we're telling bold-faced lies on television now. Okay, fair enough, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, it is true what they say, though. Television adds 15 pounds or 30 in my case. But anyway, Southland Conference standings, folks. Let's get right into it. And you'll see right away that a lot of these names we've already stepped on the floor with. Nichols leading the way at 5-1 in the Southland, 11-6 overall. Stephen F. Austin and Abilene Christian both 4-1. Sam Houston and Central Arkansas at 4-2. Lamar, Northwestern State at 3-3. McNeese at 2-3. A&M Corpus Christi at 2-4. University of Incarnate Word at 1-3. Houston Baptist 1-3. Lions at 1-4, and UNO at 1-5. So, Coach, let's dive into this a little bit. I mean, this is obviously a deep league. I mean, there's Stephen F. Austin, of course, who has the biggest win, at least that any of us can remember in Southland Conference history. And then they lose this week at home to Texas A&M Corpus Christi, following our win on the road at their place. I mean, that game right there is a perfect example of this league and how you have to be able or be ready to play each and every single night. And you can almost throw these records out the window.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You just got to remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, you go back every year I've been a part of it. It's not who starts out high. You know, last year I think we started at 0-3, losing at the buzzer. We were 1-3 sitting like this, and we were 4-12 just like we are sitting right now. And we ended up winning 8 of 9 or something like that, or 6 of 7, and then lose at Sam, and then lose at home against Sam, and then we got another streak going. So it's just about staying together, making sure your team's getting better, not getting worse. Nobody's staying the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, and we feel like we're getting better every single day. And, you know, as long as we just keep trusting the process and keep working and keep grinding, everything else will take care of itself.
No question. That photographic memory again, ladies and gentlemen, back at it. I don't know if you remember earlier this year on the Inside Southeastern Football Show with Frank Selfo. This man recited the entire schedule, date by date, game by game. So that's impressive stuff, man. Like, where's that come from?
I don't know. I lose my keys every 5 minutes in my wallet, but I can remember that. I don't know why.
Yeah, you know, the things that have mattered the most to you, right? Right. You know, the basketball schedule, number 1, wallet and keys 2 and 3. Fair enough. So let's dive in to last week, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of losses that I hate to even call on that because I thought the Lions played well enough to win in both of those games. But let's go back to last Wednesday at Sam Houston State. We're talking about a team that came into that game 47-7 in the last 4 years on their home floor, and were 7-1 at home coming into that game, and we really took it to them early, Coach. Got out to the big 15-point lead, had a 13-point lead at halftime, and then, of course, they made the big rally in the second half. But let's start with the first half. I mean, what was the game plan without giving away too much to, you know, take control of the game the way that we did?
Well, I think our game plan for the most part is the same every game. You know, it's bringing our game to the floor. We don't really game plan every game and do all these different things. You know, you have to adjust here and there for certain teams, but for the most part, we're trying to impose our will. We want to press, we want to get after it defensively, really guard the ball, and offensively, we try to get out in transition, really score, and if not, we're working on being a better, more poised basketball team that shares the ball better and takes better open shots. We really did that in the first half against Sam. I think the thing that helped us out so much was turning them over. We got a lot of turnovers and scored out in transition, and we were getting paint touches and getting good catch and shoot shots from the perimeter. And anytime you're turning somebody over like that and scoring in transition, it helps build your offense. And we were getting to the free throw line. Pop was posting. You know, we almost played a perfect 20 minutes, I would say, in that first half.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, shot 15 of 28 from the field, hit 8 3-pointers. Everything's looking great at halftime, and thinking we're going to get our first win at Sam Houston since January the 9th of 2008. And just a tough way for things to go as we got to the second half and shot just 7 of 22. But, you know, the thing for me that's, you know, kind of been mystifying but impressive at the same time is usually you have a young team with a lot of freshmen. When they go on the road, it's the early part of the game that's difficult. The games on the road for this team, the starts have been great. It's just kind of being able to weather the storm at times that has been a little bit of a challenge for us. I mean, is that a little bit backwards typically in your experience?
I don't know. Really, this is my experience right now, what I'm going through. So I don't really have much other experience as a head coach, obviously. But our guys, I think every game is its own story. Go back to Nichols, we were just down 10-3 quickly.
Sure.
Go back to the Lamar game, we were down 16-5 early. I think every game is different. Some teams, ready to play, some teams not ready to play. Whatever the case may be. I know our goal is to make sure our guys are ready as soon as the game, the ball is jumped off, and we're ready to guard, and we're ready to offensively share the ball and get to the rim. But I think in the Sam Houston case, we just. I think we got a lot going early in the second half. They just came in, and they're last year's champs. They're always top 3 and 4 in the league, and they got a team with, 6, 7 seniors and whatnot. Start a couple preseason all-conference guys, and they weren't going to just lay it down at halftime. And I think they just put their feet in the dirt and came at us a little harder, and our guys, clammed up a little bit.
Well, and something I saw positive in that game too is, okay, so they make the big run, they take the 50-49 lead, I believe it was. By the way, fans, Southeastern led that game for 35 minutes and 14 seconds. So, I mean, it really was a game that the Lions were in control of. But the thing I liked was, okay, so they take the lead. That early in the season was kind of usually when things would maybe start going the opposite direction. And then, boom, Ty Brewer hits the three-pointer and a jumper, and we take the lead right back. So it's starting to seem like he's becoming the guy to help us stop the bleeding when teams make the run.
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job of that. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be always that case in the future. I like to have a bunch of guys. I don't like to have just one guy. It's like, oh, that's our go-to guy. I think it's a better weapon when you have multiple guys that can go make big plays at the end of the game. Ty's just been one to do it. One thing he doesn't lack is confidence. So he's going to feel like he can score every single time down the break, and that can be a curse, but also sometimes it's a really good thing because he doesn't lose his confidence. He feels like he can score that ball in big shot situations. That's the type of guy that you're looking for.
Yeah, no question. Final score in that one again, Lion fans, was 67-62 as the Lions dropped a tough one and did everything except win that ball game, as Ty Brewer led the Lions with 18 points, got also with 4 3-pointers. He also grabbed 7 rebounds. Vaughn Julian and Pop Jop each added 11 in that ball game. Sam Houston sits at 11-6 and 4-2 in the Southland. As we move on to now the Nichols game for Saturday. They showed why they're a defensive juggernaut. They've allowed, during their 4-game winning streak, they've allowed 60 points or less in all 4 games. You could really see when the game started their quickness and athleticism. I mean, what in particular was it that you were most impressed with about them?
I thought they did a really good job of getting in passing lanes and really disrupting of what we're trying to do offensively. They picked up the pressure and really they kind of keep you on edge with some random traps. They just run 2 at the basketball, and they're really long, and they got some just older, tougher, grimier guys that just kind of can make plays. And defensively, they just brought the pressure, and they did a really good job with the rotations and limited us to 1 shot.
Yeah, no question. By the way, this experience, to say the least, it's a team with 10 juniors and seniors combined. The Lions with 10 freshmen and sophomores combined. So obviously the youth and the experience difference, obvious in that one. But the game didn't play out that way. I mean, I gave ourselves a chance to win as well. Our defense was more than good enough, as well as we held them to 23 for 54, shooting for 42%. We disrupted them just as much as they did us Saturday. I mean, talk a little bit about what you saw from the defensive side.
Defensively, great. I thought we did a really good job. Only a few lapses the whole game. We can go back and point at a few plays in here and there. The biggest problem we had defensively was finishing the playoff and rebounding the ball, and that's been one of our Achilles heels this year. Is just our young guys got to hit bodies. It's not okay just to box out. We say car crash, so when you hear me yelling car crash, we think of it as a violent move. You've got to hit bodies. You don't just stand in front of somebody and hope that they just back up because you're standing there. We got to hit bodies, and we got to do a better job of finishing plays like that. We have these 25 and 30-second possessions of just all-out effort and do exactly what you want, and then for them just to get a rebound and is deflating. And I think that happened too many times, and and secondly, I think we just turn the ball over too much, and I put in bad shots with those turnovers. So kind of just shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's where we got to have some of our older guys like Vaughn come over and take the game into his hands. And I got to do a better job of making sure we manage and get better shots down the stretch.
No question. And I know my producer Colton Vickers is telling me we got to break. I got to sneak one question in though here real quick before we do go. Okay, so we cut it to 61-58 after it got to a 12-point. They had as much as a 12-point lead. Got it down to 61-58, and then they scored 8 straight points. What did you see the biggest difference in us when we made the comeback as opposed to when they scored the final 8 points?
Well, we missed 3, I think, uncontested shots to tie the game back up. We missed 3 in the corner in front of our bench from Byron.
Yep.
Ty missed the top of the key 3. We got a rebound, and I think we turned it right over to them, and they just scored in transition. A live ball turnover. I think we had 2 live ball turnovers that scored. That like I say, we don't have any rules for that. Yeah, we don't have any rules for that. If we could just step up and make one of those shots, then we would be able to get in our press and make them work to bring the ball back up. But took a bad shot, and then we turned the ball over late, and it's kind of what happens when you do that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, just some tough breaks. Got some good looks to tie the ball game, just unable to convert. But a tough one nonetheless as Southeastern falls to Nichols 69-58. We're going to take another break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this week's games as the Lions take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi Wednesday night at home at 7 o'clock, and then we'll be on the road Saturday night at 7 against Abilene Christian. We're going to take a break. This is Inside Southeastern Men's Basketball with Coach David Kiefer right here on the Southeastern Sports Network.
The countdown to Katy has begun. The Southland Conference Basketball Tournament at the Merrill Center in Katy, Texas. Experience it live as Southland strong teams compete for a tournament title and a chance to go to the dance. It's affordable family fun and great college hoops action. Tickets for the Southland Conference Basketball Tournament are on sale through school ticket offices and Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Basketball with Southeastern Men's Head Basketball Coach David Kiefer. And, before we dive into Corpus Christi and Abilene Christian, I have something I need to discuss with you. I think you're cheating the coaching profession on something, sir, and I'll tell you what it is. Okay, they always talk about how, coaching makes you lose your hair. And you just threw that out the window and said, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all mine and
So
not have to worry about that.
The glasses are off and the jokes are out, huh?
Yes, indeed, sir. That's going to be my backup. That's going to be what that's my night job, or day job, however you want to look at it. But you're more than welcome to throw the jokes back at me about the fact that I can put the glasses back on if you want. You can have as much fun as you want. So, all right, fans. Anyway, all seriousness, back to it. Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Just less than 10 days ago, big victory over those guys on the road, 84-80. Got out to a huge lead, 43-17. Had a 45-23 lead at halftime. And, let's talk about the first half of that game. Everything right. I mean, the defense was suffocating. I believe we forced them into 13 turnovers in the first half alone. At least to me, probably the best half we played this year at Corpus Christi, the first half. Talk about what you saw there.
Yeah, first half probably was the best half we played all year. I don't know what we shot from the field. I don't know if you got it written down there, but we shot really well from the field. But the things that stuck out to me, turned them over 13 times.
I will take a look while you're.
We gave up 0 offensive rebounds in the first half, 0.
Yep.
And we had 1 turnover at halftime. Anytime you do that, you have a chance to be up a lot of points.
Indeed. So in the first half, the Lions shot 13 of 26 from the field, held A&M Corpus Christi to 7 of 21, forced them into 22 turnovers for the game. Lions with just 9, and Ty Brewer leading the way Pop Jop with 23 points, shot 13 of 15 from the free throw line, and then of course Vaughn Julian down the stretch. We'll get to that in just a second, but. Obviously, a near flawless first half. What was the biggest thing that you felt like helped them get back into the game in the second half?
We turned the ball over 9-10 times at least in the second half, and they ramped up the defense a little bit more, and they switched up their lineups a little bit. And again, another team that's really well coached. There's a reason that we've had not so much success there, and not many people have. The guy wins a lot of games there. They're not easy to beat, so. They didn't go into halftime saying, "Oh, it's over, we're going to quit." They keep playing. All these teams keep playing. They're Division I basketball players. So our freshmen, sometimes when you just take a second off for the pedal for a minute, those teams are going to take advantage of it. Those guys did a great job of getting the ball inside. It ended up turning into a foul free throw contest in the second half for both teams, really.
Yeah, no question about it.
It really just kind of slowed down the pace of the game. The pace was going our way the whole time, and then it just felt like there was a whistle every time down. And whether we were fouling or not, I think it just kind of disrupted our flow in our offense.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I want to go to the most crucial point in the ball game, I believe. Got a 71-65 lead. They're making the run. It had been very easy from our standpoint, Coach, to start going, God, here we are again, a game that we've dominated for, 36, 37 minutes. They're making a run. You call timeout. We've got a 6-point lead. I mean, obviously, you don't have to get into every detail, but what was the general message right there before coming out of that timeout?
Vaughn spoke most of the time. The biggest thing is, man, we've been in this situation before. There's no reason to panic. We're battling. Just go back to your fundamentals. Go back to what we're teaching. That's when you rely on everything we teach and everything we do every single day. Become more tight. Go back to the words they hear us coaches telling. Make the easy play. Don't play tight. Defense always tells you to play, and don't be robots out there. But most importantly, defensively, if we come down and get stops, we don't need to score. We're up. We get stops. We continue to car crash and rebound the ball. We'll be fine.
No question. And then, of course, we get to under 2 minutes in that ball game, and that's where Vaughn Julian's leadership. I mean, obviously, you guys, the entire coaching staff, this team sees it regularly, but everybody who saw that game got to see it firsthand just what type of leader he is. He stepped to the free throw line and hit 10 straight in the final 154 of that ball game and just refused to let us lose.
Yeah, no, that's what seniors do. They get, Vaughn, like you said, he refused to let us lose that ball game. He was going to the line. They kept fouling him. I guess they kind of looked at percentage. And before that game, he wasn't shooting the best of percentages. But he went to the line and made huge free throw after huge free throw after huge free throw and closed the game out like a senior's supposed to.
Yeah, no question. Now, okay, so let's real quick dive into the game this Wednesday. I mean, coming off of the win against Stephen F. Boston, and then they went on the road to Abilene Christian. I mean, that's as difficult of a 2-game stretch as anybody is going to have. What do you expect to see from them Wednesday night?
Really the same thing. Nobody's going to change their whole game plan. They're going to be who they are, and it's all about bringing their game to the floor, and we try to bring our game to the floor, and both of our teams try and impose our will. They did a good job of trying to throw the ball into the middle. They really like to get 4 around 1. They got a bunch of good shooters from the three-point line. They're going to try to get the ball inside and work inside out.
Sure.
We got to do a good job of defending the post. We all got to be connected and guard the basketball. But this game is really, give Corpus all the credit in the world. Super well coached team, but they don't feel like we should have won that game. They feel like they're better.
Sure.
At the same time, we tell our guys the same thing. When that game was over, they were more upset at themselves than anything. So we need to do a good job of saying that wasn't fluke.
Sure.
That we need to validate our win. We need they're coming to our place now, and we need to protect our home and validate our last win.
No question. Real quick, Lions shot 26 of 49 from the field in that game, 27 of 35 from the free throw line. Outstanding. And a season-low 9 turnovers. So obviously a lot of things going good in that game, which of course was 10 days ago, not quite 10 days ago, back on January the 4th, as the Lions pick up the victory, 84-80, as we switch our attention up to Saturday. Coach, Abilene Christian. Last year, able to win the game at Abilene Christian 75-66, lost at home on a just heartbreaker, which ended up determining the 2 seed when Peyton Riggs hit the three-pointer with 2 seconds left. Ended up losing that game 75-72, and then lose just a battle in the Southland Conference Tournament semifinals 69-66. A little bit of a rivalry, you could say, was formed last year between the two teams. How much have they changed from a year ago as we get ready for Saturday's matchup?
I would say they changed a lot, but not changed at the same time. They are who they are. They're not going to change what their philosophy and who they are. He's, I think, one of the best coaches in the conference. Kind of really, look up to how they do things. Look up to Coach Ladner, but our deal's kind of the same. I remember the first year I was in this league, Abilene rode out there with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, and they were really well coached, but they just really struggled to beat anybody. But they were in every single game, and I just watched them for the 3 years be like, man, they're going to be really good in a couple of years. They're going to be really good, and you just saw them every year come back. And then last year was their year. They had a whole bunch of seniors, and they believed and they bought in and they trusted the process, and they went off and won it. This year they bring back some really important seniors. Got some new guys, but they had some young guys that got a lot of experience for them last year that they're relying a lot more this year. But they're going to be who they are. They're going to be really physical. They're going to be really well prepared, really well coached. And defensively, I think they're one of the best teams in the conference. But before we even get to that point, I haven't really watched too much film on them or anything. I just know their program, and I respect them highly. We got a big one in our hands full Wednesday.
It gets hard to look ahead in this league, isn't it? I mean, there is no game on the schedule where you can go, we'll probably go out there and just kind of roll out on the floor. And
they pick UNO to win the league first place, and I still think UNO is going to be at the top of the league when it's all said and done, because he's a really good coach and they got good players. But right now they're sitting at 1-5, and Cardinal Word was picked to be dead last, and then Cardinal Word beats them the other night. So really, it just goes to show you anybody can beat anybody in any given night. This team, it's going to be who's going to be healthy and who's going to be standing there strong at the end of the day.
Yeah. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the conference sports information directors were the ones that voted UNO to win the conference, and they're at 1-5. So you can blame us on that one.
Well, it's a little early. I think UNO started out cold last year, and they bring back their entire team from last year basically, and they played in the championship game, and Coach Lessinger does a really good job. So I don't think they're going to be down there for too long.
No, that's what I said. I mean, there's an eternity left in this season, and they're going to be a team that if they're a 1 seed or a 6 seed come Southland Conference tournament time, they're going to be a handful. But real quick before we head to break, I'm going to get your thoughts on the guy who we're going to talk to here in just a second, who I think is, outside of the players on a daily basis. And, of course, obviously the entire coaching staff works extremely hard on a regular basis. Assistant Coach Patrick Schulte, who's going to come and sit with me here in just a second, going to shoot the breeze with him a little bit. But the work that he puts in kind of reminds me of what Coach David Kiefer did last year from the between recruiting, between scouting, game planning, and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. Does the guy sleep at all? I mean, we're going to have to ask his wife, Stephanie, who's in the stands. Does he ever lay down and go to sleep when it's his scouts? I mean, he is as dedicated as anybody.
He does a really good job, and the biggest reason of wanting to bring him here is because of the similar background, being a former player, former manager, former as Coach Huggins and Coach Martin would call us, former vidiots. Video coordinators used to call us vidiots. We're both former vidiots, and takes a lot of pride in his scouting, and that's really important for us and gives us an advantage to win basketball games. He's done it at a really high level, and he's been in our league before, so I really trust his opinion. And he's been working his butt off, and he's got this Corpus Scout coming up here again, so see if he can't go 2-0.
No question. And fans, real quick before we go to break, good story to tell you. We were on our way back from Huntsville after the Sam Houston game. We got back at 3 o'clock in the morning. I happened to get up to stretch my legs for a minute. I look at the seat in front of me, and Coach Patrick Schulte is still wide awake watching film, but I think he might have been dozing off back and forth. But he had his computer with the screen on, watching, still going through game film. But, yeah, almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and he is watching film for the Nichols game. So, this guy's dedication is bar none. He's gotten a heck of an introduction, so you're going to get to meet him here in just a second. We're going to take another break and come back. This is Southeastern men's basketball, inside Southeastern men's basketball with Coach David Kiefer right here on the Southeastern Sports Network.
What do you love most about being a student athlete at Southeastern?
So I chose teammates for life because on our golf team, nobody's from the same spot, but the friendships we've made, once we graduate, I know we'll always be friends, we'll always see each other, we'll always come back and visit.
The Southland Conference, 13 member institutions, over 4,200 student athletes, achieving success in the classroom while excelling in 19 NCAA Division I sports and making a difference through serving others and giving back to the community. Determination, hard work, commitment, excellence, and collaboration. Together, we are Southeastern!
Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Basketball with head coach David Kiefer at Rainbow Daiquiris. As you can see, though, David Kiefer has stepped away for just a moment, and we bring in the now what seems like infamous assistant coach Patrick Schulte after he got a pretty nice introduction. So, Coach, I appreciate you joining us, man, and, you heard us talking about you, man. I'm sure it made you blush just a little bit, and, talk a little bit about the dedication that comes in with this, man. I mean, the hours that you watch film and the way that you break down each and every single opponent when we're on the road, when we sit down and, you prep the team for, matchups and what we're going to do against this team and that team, et cetera. I mean, take us through it without giving away anything to our opponents out there, but just kind of what goes through your mind when you're looking at it.
Sure. Yeah, in commercial break, Salim, I decided if I ever pass before you, I do want you to do my eulogy after that introduction. So just
buddy, but
remember that.
Don't depress me right now.
If the time comes, I decided that I do want you to do my eulogy. But scouting, it's just you watch, you try to pick up anything that you can relay to your guys to help.
I'm hoping I'll go before you. I'm just saying.
Never know. Try not to overload them with things, but try to give them a couple things to focus on. Like Coach said, it's more. We try to make it more about us, impose our will on people, and try to make the opponent adjust to us rather to adjusting to them. But really, it's just trying to give them 2 or 3 things that maybe they can pick up and focus on to help them win a game ultimately.
So let's talk real quick about what I was mentioning right before the break. I want to clear this and make sure we've got. Were you awake at 2:35 in the morning? I got up and stretched, and you had the computer on, and you had game footage, but I don't know if you had dozed off or not.
I don't know. I think John Jarvis actually moved me from the spot I was sleeping. I can't really remember. I do not feel like I was awake, but if you said that I was, I'm going to take your word for it.
Oh, so I understand. Fair enough. So, look, man, I want, obviously your basketball knowledge, the scouts, everything that you do is so appreciated, obviously, by the players and coaches on this team. The way that we come out on a regular basis goes to show what you and the assistant coaching staff on a nightly basis. I mean, the preparation is outstanding. Let's get away from the basketball court for just a minute. You're a family man, sir, a big-time family man. Got wife Stephanie, who is here, and 2 little ones, Harper and Lincoln. A fun life on the basketball court, fun life at home, man. Tell us a little bit about the home life, man, getting to be a father.
Yep, me and my wife have been married 6 years now, going on 7. We got a 4-year-old daughter, Harper, and a 1-year-old son, Lincoln. She's actually holding him, rocking him back there now, so if you hear him scream, that's him. We're from the same hometown. As soon as we got married, we went on our honeymoon, and that next weekend we packed up and we headed down to my first job, which was actually in this league, like Coach said. And from there, we've made numerous stops along the way, and she's a great built-in support system, and kids love coming to the games, even though my daughter, Harper, is terrified of mascots, so she doesn't enjoy it when Roomy's there. It makes for a long game for my wife, but besides that, it's great to come home, and I will already pull in the driveway, and I can already hear Harper yelling "Daddy" from inside, and it just makes everything worth it. You realize what you do it for. I'm
not gonna lie, man. Whenever we get on the road trips, and I know you do a lot of FaceTiming with them, that kind of chokes me up a little bit, man. When obviously these 1,000-mile road trips we make on the regular, and when you get a chance to talk to them, that kind of chokes me up a little bit. But we got to get the truth from Stephanie. Stephanie, does he sleep at home at all when it comes to scouting? Gets a head nod, yes, no? Sometimes.
She actually got mad at me last night because we were watching one of our shows after the kids went to sleep, and I fell asleep at about 9:30 to about 10:30 right during our show, and she couldn't figure out why. But so there's proof I do sleep a little bit.
So you every once in a while? What?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Gotcha. The life of an assistant coach is underappreciated, man. So look, okay, Coach obviously was telling us a little bit about Texas A&M Corpus Christi Wednesday's matchup. You're a scout again. What have you seen from them? I mean, obviously not much is going to have changed from the game 11 days ago or however long it was, but, what do you expect to see from them, and have you seen anything at all different looking at film from the last 2 or 3 games?
Like Coach said, they haven't changed much stylistically. They made a small lineup change where they start one different person. They start Peyton Smith now instead of Elijah Schmidt. But besides that, they're still looking to do the same stuff. I think they're really going to try to establish their big fellow Tony Lewis inside and try to be physical. They did that to start the second half to try to get back into it. Besides that, like Coach said, they're going to run 4 round 1. If they don't have anything, they're going to come set a high middle ball screen. And really, they haven't changed too much, as we haven't changed too much. It's just going to be, are we going to be able to impose our will on them, or are they going to impose theirs on us?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now, we got Coach's thoughts a little bit earlier about some of the individuals and the guys that have progressed and whatnot, and you do a lot with them as well. I mean, who are some of the guys, I guess, when you look at the biggest upside? Of course, we talked about Byron Smith. I haven't mentioned Laquan Butler yet, who's been spectacular since he's been reinserted into the starting lineup. Just talk about, some, not put you too much on the spot here, but some of the individuals that you look at and say, man, Coach, we've got a heck of a guy that we're going to be able to mold here for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I love the upside of all of our guys, even our upperclassmen.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at our juniors, Pop Chop, he's been playing basketball 3.5, 4 years. So even though he's a junior, you still look at his upside and how much he gets better every year and you think, man, he can take a big jump from his junior to senior year. Obviously, you see your freshman, and you already see what Byron's been able to do, and Isaiah's picking it up. And you saw a good glimpse of what Maxim Romanov could do this last game. Obviously, Nick Caldwell looked like our best player the first 2 or 3 games of the year. So we feel real good about all of our underclassmen, but also our upperclassmen. There's always room to grow, and like Coach said, if you're never staying status quo, you're always either getting better or worse. So every day we're just trying to push them to get a little better.
You know what I like, too, about this coaching staff? I'm going to talk to Coach a little bit more about this in the next segment. Is, obviously everything on paper when you guys come in, okay, the quote-unquote rebuilding year, you've got, 8, 9, 10 freshmen, 1 senior on the team, brand new coaching staff, got to get the system in place. You guys haven't taken that mindset. I mean, you're looking to try to win every game this year, and just, these close losses, I guess you could say, are affecting you no differently as losing by 30 points. Like take, for instance, the Ole Miss game, a game on paper, probably a game not necessarily to compete with, but our coaching staff, our players on this team were just as angry about losing that as if they lost to a team that, maybe we were supposed to beat. Where is that mindset coming from that y'all aren't thinking about all that, we can be good 2 years from now. Y'all are wanting to be good today.
Yeah, everybody knows this business is a results-oriented business. It's judged off wins and losses, but we try to focus on just getting better every day, and we don't really care who we're playing, whether it's Ole Miss or whether it's a non-Division I opponent. We're going to take them the same. I'm not going to scout it any different. Coach Brooks, Coach Conroy, Coach Lieberman, nobody's going to scout it any different. We respect every opponent. We just try to go about our business and keep growing ourselves, and if we do that and we take care of our business every day, we trust the wins will come.
No question, man. Well, before I'm letting you off the hot seat, I'm going to really heat your seat up a little bit here, my friend. Okay, so we get to see what this basketball team is. We know about, the knowledge that you brought. You have obviously shown everybody at home just from listening to you talk about what you know about the game of basketball. But let's get away from that completely when you're not watching film at home. What are some of the things that you, Stephanie, and the kids enjoy as a family, man?
We actually like to take walks. We got our daughter Harper a bike for Christmas. So big things, we like to go for walks. She'll push Lincoln, and Harper will ride her bike, and I'll walk our dog Betsy, or she walks me a lot of the times. Besides that, we like to watch shows, like to watch movies. We'll go to the park, just kid stuff. Having 2 kids, they always keep us on our toes. Just anything to keep them occupied so we can get to nap time on the weekends.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Schulte and myself like to have staring contests with our glasses to see who blinks first.
That's right.
So. Okay.
Salim blinked twice. Salim is notorious for doing staring contests and blinking and not realizing he blinked.
I think y'all are too hard on me. I think I win every one. Listen, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming and sitting with us, and listen, good luck the rest of the way. Got a beautiful family here over there in the studio with us, or in the building. But good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us on here, man.
I appreciate you.
All right, fans, we'll take a quick break here from Rainbow Daiquiris. It's Inside Southeastern Basketball right here on the Southeastern Sports Network.
The countdown to Katy has begun. The Southland Conference Basketball Tournament at the Merrill Center in Katy, Texas. Experience it live as Southland Strong teams compete for a tournament title and a chance to go to the dance. It's affordable family fun and great college hoops action. Tickets for the Southland Conference Basketball Tournament are on sale through school ticket offices and Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Basketball with head coach David Kiefer as he rejoins us. I'm Chris Salim, coming to you here from Rainbow Daiquiris here in beautiful Hammond, America. About 10 minutes or so left in the show for those of you who have tuned in. I understand there's a relatively big sporting event going on at the moment, also known as the National Championship game, with a team of local interest. And let's see, as of right now, team of local interest trails 7-0 with 6:09 to go in the first quarter, for those of you that are wondering. But anyway, so listen, we've talked about the team up and down. We talked about both games last week, both games this week. Talked with assistant coach Patrick Schulte. Let's talk a little bit to coach a little bit about some of the rest of the staff, which is here, as we take a look over here on the side at assistant coach Riley Conroy, assistant coach Dean Baumert, strength and conditioning coach John Jarvis over there, who I know John, I know sometimes John talks a lot, and we have to make sure that, we have to make sure that he knows that it's time to kind of be quiet. But, as for the most part, John is as good as you can ask for. But all kidding aside, John is a fabulous guy, a rock to say the least. Mr. Baumert and Mr. Riley Conroy, we got to discuss with them about no more snoring on the bus. So, we'll get with them on that. But I'm messing with both of them. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about these two guys. They've been outstanding for you. Dean and Riley, just as much as you could possibly ask for behind the scenes. I mean, two young guys with great, potential in the coaching business. Talk a little bit about how much they've meant to you, and not to, Jordan Brooks as well, who's over here. All these guys.
Yeah, for sure. You started with Dean and Riley. Both of those guys are help me tremendously daily. Those guys will tell you I'm sometimes a little spacey and I don't have any hair, but sometimes I act like a blonde, and those guys keep me organized. They keep me on top of everything. They are unbelievable with the guys, their interactions with the guys. They're both going to be up-and-coming rising stars, I think, in the business. I don't think they're far away from both being Division I assistant coaches here pretty soon. They can do anything. They can get on the floor. They are able, well, they're not allowed to, but they're coaches. They're able to watch film. They're able to break stuff down. They're set up our travel. Wear a bunch of different hats and don't do it for a lot of money, and they're going to be really good at it here in the future. You go to the other guys, Jordan Brooks, who's got here not long ago. Sure. You walk in his office and you'll see about 1,000 names on the board of kids he's recruiting and talking to on a daily basis, and he's going to bring us a real good player here in the offseason. Coach Jarvis, I think last radio show I said it, how good he was for us this summer, coming in with like we said, a new staff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was here last year, but we wanted to do things a little bit differently, and he embraced it right away. Came in with new ideas, very innovative, just on top of the guys. Young guy, but he's going to be a star in this business, I believe, as well. So I'm really lucky to have a staff that's so helpful for me.
No question.
Make me look better.
I think the thing that's most impressive is how quickly that they've caught on the kind of the continuity with you guys. Just, not even a full year in, and I think that's just going to help set a foundation moving forward. But we've only got about 5 minutes left in the show, so we're going to do kind of like we did with Coach Schulte, and now do the same thing with you a little bit, Coach. So, okay. Obviously, basketball is as much a part of your life as anything, but first and foremost is this woman sitting in the front row, Mia Kiefer, your wife of, I think it's, how many years now?
6 years married.
6 years married, and then the 3 kids, Austin, and then the twins of Nola and Caden. I want to hear about home life for you, man. Obviously, it's nice to get home from time to time when you got it and spend time with the family.
The whole thing's been just a whirlwind, getting the job, not knowing that the job was going to come open because the Southern Miss coach randomly left and Jay Ladner got the Southern Miss job, and then I get, a call from Artigues, and, just having twin girls a month before that and then getting handed this job, and then we were on the look for a new house because we just had twins and we were living in a 1,200 square foot house. As soon as you open the door, there's just things everywhere. There's 2 small humans, but they come with a lot of stuff. And we couldn't. The house is overflowed, so it's and then trying to be a head coach of a team and trying to hire a staff, and that's why again goes back to the staff, how important they are to allow me to go be a father and a husband as well, and the basketball coach. You know, I wouldn't be the head coach if it weren't without her. You know, Coach Schulte said the same thing about his wife. You know, I think we moved in 5 different states in 5 years. She came with me.
Sure.
From being a high school basketball coach to a junior college assistant making $400 a month, and she slept at the other assistant coach's house with me in a room that we'd pay $200 a month rent for, and she just traveled with me everywhere, believing that I'd be here one day. So to have somebody that believes in you like that, it's huge.
You know, and with all due respect to our entire coaching staff, I think the best assistant coach that you have might be that lady sitting in the front row. So, sorry, guys, y'all do a great job, but I think she's going to have to take the number 1 assistant's job.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Well, listen, I still got a couple minutes left, so real quick, you know, big week coming up for us, man. I mean, still nothing lost yet. This team can still very much be a player in the Southland Conference tournament, and Southland Conference race moving forward. You know, what do you see being the biggest thing that this team needs to improve on moving forward to start getting some of these, you know, nail-biting losses into 10, 12-point wins, or just a win?
Yeah, just keep fighting, keep coming every day with the same exact attitude, not caring, you know, what the record is, nothing like that. You know, we're 4 games into this deal, 5 games into. We got 15. We got a whole lot of time left, you know, and it's a long way to go. And all these teams, every year you see it, and I don't know who it's going to be this year, but every year there's 2 or 3 teams that have to deal with injuries. There's 2 or 3 teams that have to deal with just bad team chemistry, and as long as we just stay together and continue to work and knock on wood, stay healthy, we're going to be right in the mix there at the end of the year. And if we get to the conference tournament, if we handle our business and get to the conference tournament, I think we're going to be a very tough out.
Yeah, there's no question. And now, one thing, too, before we go off, I mean, the 2 areas just from the numbers-wise that I know, and of course, these end up being huge in a lot of these games that are decided, you know, in this conference on a nightly basis. I mean, you see 3, 4, 5-point games. Struggled a little bit from the rebounding, but not because of effort, in my opinion. I mean, obviously we're battling, but just a little bit smaller down low. And at times the free throw line. You know, when you look at the free throws, I think from the rebounding, you just kind of, you know, you're going to have to battle with the size. But at the free throw line, I've always had a theory that when you play at the pace that we do, that it gets hard sometimes to slow down and go to the line. I mean, what do you attribute that to? Because this is a good shooting basketball team.
Yeah, sometimes just miss free throw. You just gotta. You know, I'm not gonna say the words we use in practice, but you just gotta be tough and go to the line and just knock it down. Have focus. We're trying to make things harder in practice. You know, everybody go to the line and hold teams, you know, watching and put time and score on the board, and, you know, try to rattle the guys, and they gotta run and do all these things if they miss. But you can't really simulate in the real game. You know, you gotta go to the line, man up, and make free throws for your team. It's an uncontested jump shot, mid-range jump shot. There's no reason you should be able to, or set shot. There should be no reason you should go to the line and not, you know, as a team shoot 75% or better every night. And that's something that we got to get better on if we want to win. Like you said, these games are coming down to 1 and 2 points, and when you look back and you shoot 50% from the line, you just, you know, you feel like you shot yourself in the foot.
You know, but and the weird thing, though, and I was looking at some of those numbers on this earlier, I mean, we're shooting 71% from the free throw line during conference play. That is not bad at all. That is actually above average, but the rest of the league has, I mean, it's just one of those weird deals where at least early on, you know, 71% is putting us near the bottom when normally, I mean, that's 3rd or 4th in the league. So, I mean, I don't know necessarily that it's so much on us as much as it is just it seems like.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just a small sample size. People are 3, 4, 5 games into it.
Sure.
We got 20 games to go. Those teams that are shooting high 80s and 90s, they're going to have a couple games they shoot 30s and 40s, you know, and it all balances itself at the end of the day. But if we can stay in the 70s, regardless of what anybody else does, if we can stay in the 70s, that we'll be right there in games.
Yeah, no question. Well, listen, I think we are out of time, sir. I have enjoyed it. Been looking forward to getting a chance sitting down here with you for an hour. I know the privilege has probably been all yours.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Especially them glasses. Them glasses are big time.
No, man, look, I appreciate it. I've enjoyed it. It's been our privilege to travel with you and this team for the last couple of years, this year, and look forward to picking up a lot of wins over the second half of the season, as we're exactly halfway through the schedule. So good luck the rest of the way, man, and let's get us a couple of victories this week, as again, Wednesday night at home against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 7 o'clock. We'll have that game for you right here on the Southeastern Sports Network and 90.9 FM KSLU, and then Saturday on the road at Abilene Christian at 7 o'clock. And boy, that's going to make for a fun road trip home, especially what are we going to, about 6 o'clock in the morning, you figure?
Ooh, if we're lucky.
So, yeah. So anyway, hopefully pick up the victory there, and then come home and make that trip a lot shorter. But we are out of time, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody that helped produce today's broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a production of Southeastern Athletics. Got to pull this up and make sure we don't miss it. So copyrighted broadcast of Southeastern basketball may be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed without the express written consent of Southeastern Louisiana University Department of Athletics. Our executive producer is J.R. Teagues. Associate producers Ola Adeboye and Andrew Bishek. Coordinating producers Damon Sunday and Colton Vickers. Audio producer is Todd Delaney. Director for today's show is Ray Jacobs. Studio coordinator Troy Granger back at the 90.9 FM KSLU studios. For head coach David Kiefer, I'm Chris Salim, reminding you once again, thanks again for watching Southeastern men's basketball and Inside Southeastern basketball with head coach David Kiefer right here on the Southeastern Sports Network. We'll see you Wednesday at 7 o'clock as the Lions take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Good night from Rainbow Daiquiris.
Inside Southeastern Basketball with David Kiefer is a product of Lion Sport Properties. For more information on how you can support future broadcasts, contact Lion Sport Properties at area code 985-549-2570.